Did you know that hospitals spy on their own employees? Well, maybe spy is the wrong word, but they do need to check and monitor for compliance with various types of activities and procedures in the hospital. One of our relatives was placed in charge of the nursing in an intensive care unit. As you can imagine, it's really important that everyone monitors their hand hygiene and doesn't transmit any germs or diseases or infections to these very sick patients. When he took over the department, our relative noticed that the hand hygiene, as recorded by the compliance team, was at 45%. In other words, more than half the time, the proper protocols for clean hands was not being followed. He saw that this was a pattern that happened again and again. As he observed people in his department walking into patient rooms, he noticed they would gown up, put on all the equipment that would be protective for them and the patient. And then as they opened the door to the patient's intensive care room, they would hit the hand sanitizer, which was located inside the patient's room. And so they were gowning up, putting on the protective equipment with hands that were potentially dirty or infected, contaminated, and then they would sanitize. And so that was not the procedure. He realized if we had the hand sanitizers on the outside of the room, they could sanitize their hands before they gowned up and went into the patient contact. The 12th model in the book Thinking for Success is called You Can't Solve a Problem at the Same Level of Thinking That Created It. And I offer three different solutions, ways that you might address this. The first is to enlist some help. Second is to gain a new perspective. And third is to ask for insight. And so, what our relative in the nursing at the ICU was doing was he brought a new perspective. He was a new person into the scene. And so, if you see yourself or your staff having persistent, recurring problems, it's because we're stuck at the same level of thinking that created the problem. And we need an outside influence, a new perspective, or we need to ask for insight. You can't solve a problem at the same level of thinking that created it.